My name's Chris Baker-Bryan. I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO of Bbox. We're an off-grid energy company that deploys systems in the developing world to support off-grid households with accessing reliable, more affordable forms of off-grid energy. There's 1.1 billion people who lack access to reliable energy in the developing world, and Bbox was founded to try and solve that issue. So Bbox targets a range of customers, but the initial target market is customers that earn around about $100 to $200 a month as an income for the entire household. And that might translate to a spend of around $6 to $14 a month on existing forms of energy. So for example, you might be a customer that is spending money on kerosene, on candles, on batteries, on mobile phone charging. And really the Bbox proposition is to take that existing spend, that monthly spend on carbon-based solutions, and transfer that into a more reliable, greener, cleaner form of energy for the household. So I think one of the big advances in the last 10 years has been the reduction in the cost of solar panels and energy storage has really made these types of business models where you're replacing traditional sources of energy such as carbon-based solutions with a more sustainable modern form. It's really made it viable in the last 10 years because of the price reduction. Coupled with that has been the financing methods that have been employed. So this ability to pay in small weekly, daily, monthly installments has really made it much more accessible for the customer to not have to go and pay a large lump sum up front for a solar panel or a battery. The ability to break that down into small installments and put a technology solution around that has really opened up the market to a much broader and more diverse number of customers than would have been possible 10 years ago. So in terms of what the future holds for Bbox, two countries that we're really excited by and have led the way in terms of providing off-grid energy to the households have been in Rwanda and in Togo. So the government of Rwanda has set a target of 48% of their households being able to access off-grid energy by 2024. So that's from a rate of about 18% today. So it's a huge increase over the next 6 years. Similarly in Togo, so we've been partnering with the government of Togo over the last year, where they've got a target of 300,000 households gaining access to off-grid energy over the next 7 years. So some quite aggressive targets, and it's the first time that many governments on the continent have realised that actually just extending the grid and just providing on-grid forms of electrification is no longer the best way of achieving universal access to energy. And if we are to reduce that number for 1.1 billion people who don't have access to reliable electric power today, if we are to reduce that number, we need to find ways of using off-grid energy and mini-grid systems to allow us to do that productively and economically, because just extending the grid is no longer the only option for improving access to energy in the developing world.